Televiewers, good evening. Welcome to Prime R on My Media Prime. We this day are going to be discussing elections that took place across the regional councils in the country. We have presidents of the respective regional councils for the case of the far north, Damawa, east, south, center, littoral and the west regions, and also those for the northwest and southwest region, where there we have regional assemblies comprising the House of Divisional Representatives and the House of Chiefs. We already aware of those who have been made regional presidents alongside their collaborators. We also are going to be looking at this pending topic that has to do with CONAC, describing the Ministry of Finance as the most corrupt ministry in Cameroon for the year 2019. We are going to be looking at these two topics with our panelists who already are in the house. Far Elvis Tayong is in the house all the way from Boya, representing the Cameroon Renaissance movement. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Kumlenat. Good evening to the panelists who are present here, level-headed, so to say. And good evening to the people of Gunoko village, as usual, and to His Royal Majesty, Font Dr. Mumki Waters, and Font Babit of Mbemi village, and Royal Majesty Font Humphrey of Barakwe village, and a host of others who are watching us as of now.
Good evening to you. Also, Kiven Brenda, who is a journalist present this evening to discuss on these two burning topics. We're glad to have you.
Thank you very much. And good evening to all the panelists as well, those watching from their homes in the northwest, southwest region, and all parts of Cameroon as a whole. I don't want to focus on just from the English-speaking regions. Everybody watching the program, good evening. I hope you have a nice time with us. Good
evening to you, Andre Natemebako. We're glad to have you also with us this evening.
Good evening, Mr. Leo, and all the televiewers of my media Prime, and all the panelists who are here tonight. Thank you very much.
There is somebody who was elected in the southwest region with your name. Is it your father or your uncle?
Well, I don't know. I think we are. Are you sure?
Huh?
Are you sure?
You're not aware?
I am aware of the vice president you are talking about, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, I know. Probably has my name.
Okay. Yes, your name, sir. Okay, we are awaiting the vice president for the PCR and party in charge of the diaspora should be joining us in the program. Paddy Asanga should be on standby representing the Social Democratic Front. Good evening to you, Paddy. Seemingly Paddy is not yet there, but I'll start with you for Elvis Tayong. Eli, can you do everything possible to get across to Paddy Asanga? You are coming from Boya. You observed what transpired there. Your first impressions?
Well, when I look at the regional elections that took place, the General Assembly today in Boya, the impressions are very simple. It is another kangaroo house put in place. I told most of them when I met them there, most of it is that the ones I met there, some of the regional councils and the House of Chiefs, as they call themselves, many of them told me, we are going to work for the betterment of the Southwest, we are going to do this, we are going to do that. I only realized that most of them don't even know their role. And that is the bitter truth about the whole issue. And for the very fact that it was a one-man show, that is, it was a mono-party presentation, explains another reason why nothing good, I repeat, nothing good will come out of that issue they call regional house or whatever they're calling it. And so, I took keen interest in the manner in which they were carrying out their elections. But before then, I understand that the same scenario that took place, or usually takes place at elections in the National Assembly and the Senate, is the same thing, meaning that before the D-Day, the Central Committee comes one day before, takes some serious arrangements, and let people know who is to occupy which position. Now, on the day of the election that was today, the whole issue was just ceremonial. Because all the regional councillors, since as it was a monoparty issue, they already knew that this would be the president, this would be the vice, this would be this, supervised by the central committee members. And what caught my attention, another issue is that the whole called elites who have been hiding in Yaoundé with sealed lips without commenting for the Anglophone crisis to come to an end, were all there in their prados, bodyguards, whatever the case might be, drivers, all packed full in Boya. And I said, these guys are not serious. These guys are not serious. Because these are the people who pretend as if nothing is well, and they disguise behind regional elections, and give a scenario as if all is very okay, everything is under control. They are the ones who are not telling President Probia the truth. Therefore, the real devils are these elites. Because I am sure, if this crisis was going on and they had sent the right signals to the head of state, President Probia, I'm sure we should not be where we are today. People, I have not seen them come out as this crisis is going on, but I saw them today coming to empower regional councillors. And I asked myself, are these people normal human beings? God is watching them.
Yeah, but is that not where you should start with the regional? Is that also a step towards finding a lasting solution to the problem?
No step, Mr. Leo. Why do I say no step? Regional councillors, whatever you are, listen to me very well. And listen very well. If you don't know your functions, let me remind you. First, the rapporteur is also will be representing equally the government. Away from the rapporteur, the governor of each region sits in as a representative of the state. Whatever you do has to do with proposals. When I met one of them who came from an area around Manu Division, and he was telling me, you know, we are going to make sure there will be roads, we are going to make sure there will be this. I said, but this guy is a clown. Because some of them don't even understand the role they are supposed to play. No, and so when you tell us that you are going to bring about change on the road, Mr. Leo, it doesn't look serious.
To some extent, if municipal councils can work on roads, the regional councils can also. They have competence to engage in some environmental issues. Yes.
Let me remind again, I'm waiting for anybody to disprove me. They don't have the mandate to ignite the change. They only make the proposals and send forward. When you make proposals, regional councillors,
except you don't understand, you yourself don't understand what they're supposed to do. Yes.
When you compare with the councillors of the councils,
yes,
there are two different things.
It's almost
no, Mr. Leo. The councillors in their respective areas even have more powers, because a councillor can look at a bridge in his locality, talks to his mayor one-on-one, and the mayor ignites that in the program and is done. For regional council, it is only proposal, Mr. Leo.
No, it's not only
proposal.
It's not only proposal. Your reaction, your first reaction, Kiven.
Well, when the president announced that we're going to have this regional council, there was some hope, because we all want to see this decentralization the government has been talking about since 1994 come into effect. 1996 come into effect. Yeah. But when we look at some of the law governing the creation of this regional council, we are tempted to see that the council is just there as a ceremonial body. I don't want to be that person who will look at the negative aspect of something before the thing actually happens. Okay. But with the mind of objectively, I'll look at it like this council doesn't have the powers that they think they have, because they are limited somehow. And I wish that all regional councillors could go back and study this law and study. Would
you read section 73 for us? 73, especially sub 3.
I'm going to read section 73. I'm going to read the one that talked about I'll be coming back, about the governor, which says that the governor will be there.
Control the state.
Yes, and he controls every meeting. They don't meet, they don't discuss without permission. It means they cannot even sit amongst themselves and drink. Yes, that's what I'm going to read that law, Leo. They cannot even sit and drink, because before they sit and discuss anything, the governor must approve their meeting.
No, they say the governor can decide to be
I'm going to come to that law. I was looking through that law to read it out to you.
Wants to, yeah.
Where he says that every single session must be held in the presence of the governor of the region.
who exercise supervisory authority, if he finds any violation of their functions, such as holding meetings outside the few sessions prescribed, it means holding meetings outside the few sections prescribed out of the regular meetings, then it will be stopped.
So the government oversees the activities.
It oversees the activities.
Independent as people are
The
blamed.
government is
the overall boss of that organization.
When we look at it, I think it should go back to that law, and that's what first of all caught my attention when it came to this regional elections. I know that the council might influence some decisions in the country regarding the regions. When we look at the other another part of it that caught my attention is the fact that they don't have any direct influence on the management of councils.
Yeah.
It means that you're the regional councillor, but you cannot tell Mayor, God bless his soul, Mayor Barik. No, Mayor Charlie Peter, he manages his affairs. You have nothing to say, but you are supposed to be a regional councillor. So I look at it like another form of a senate.
Okay. Your first reading of what has happened in Cameroon today.
Well, Mr. Liu, the question we have always been asking is how much power is going to be decentralized to start with. Yes, how much power is involved. Those are the things that in the initial beginning, Cameroonians should have been asking themselves. The regional elections that took place for decentralization in all the 10 regions, how much power is being decentralized in all of these regions? Those are the kind of things that we need to first put in place to be able to establish that we are talking about decentralization. Now, coming again now to this decentralization, Mr. Liu, I would say that it's a good initiative, but we must be able to identify and do a background check on the people that are involved in this process and in this decentralization, because we realize that in all the regions CPDM took all the seats except where is it in Adamawa. So you realize that at the end of the day, it is still a party issue because we are dealing here with CPDM. Now, the decentralization, it's a good initiative, but I will almost say that it's done at the wrong time, because this was a thing that was initiated in 1996 by, or was enforced at that period in 1996 by the Southwest elites, who enforced the head of state to realize that decentralization would be what will resolve the Anglophone crisis at that time, because the spark for the NCNC has always been, the spark for secessionists has always been. So the Southwest elites did not take the same side with the Northwesterners who stood for two-state federation. And now the Grand National Dialogue which took place in Yaoundé that led to this decentralization that we are talking today, this was still being pioneered by the same elites of the Southwest. Now we have the decentralization which has now favored all the 10 regions of this country, which I will tell you that, Mr. Liu, it is a historic moment for Cameroon and for Cameroonians. But the question Cameroonians should be able to demand and ask the system in place is how much power is being decentralized and is being shared among these 10 regions, so that the people understand that they are capable of managing this and they are capable of managing that. Till now, we do not know how much power, Mr. Liu, is being decentralized. So let us be clear when we are talking about the decentralization, because we understand that decentralization, Mr. Liu, it is meant for acceleration of development, which will allow regions to be able to self-develop themselves and compete in development. But the question here is, when we don't know and we realize that the actors that are involved in this decentralization still hold power and determines how the actors should behave, you realize that there is still, you give something and then you hold a court to it. My point is, it should have been clear, but I will still say that, Mr. Liu, that let us take what comes first. The decentralization is in place, and I think that what I would say to all Cameroonians is that it is a historic moment that Cameroon is moving into, because if we are going to emerge in 2035 or in 2030, we must be able to have power that is being shared equally in all the 10 regions of the country.
Let me get to section 73 of the code. It says the governor appointed by decree of the President of the Republic shall be the representative of the state in the region. In this capacity, he shall be responsible for national interest administrative control, ensuring compliance with laws and regulations, as well as maintaining law and order. He shall, under the authority of the government, supervise and coordinate civil state services in the region. He shall exercise the supervisory authority of the state over the region. So that is for the governor in the case of all the regions. But talking about the devolution of powers.
Yes.
Now, powers devolved upon regions. Chapter 1 of section 267 says the following powers shall be devolved upon regions. From the economic perspective, it says promoting small and medium-sized enterprises, organizing trade fairs and exhibitions, promoting handicrafts, promoting agricultural, pastoral, and fishery activities, encouraging the creation of regional groupings for economic operators, supporting income-generating and job-creating micro-projects, promoting tourism. From the environmental perspective, it says managing, protecting, and maintaining protected areas and natural sites falling under the jurisdiction of the region, preserving and implementing the other local measures to protect nature, and a host of others. Then spatial planning, regional development, public works, town planning, and housing. It is going to be formulating and implementing regional development plans, signing performance contracts with the state for the achievement of development objectives, participating in the organization and management of interurban public transport, coordinating development actions, formulating regional territorial development guidelines in accordance with the national plan, participating in the formulation of urban planning documents and local authorities. And heard, when you look at it, most of what they are supposed to do is pretty similar to what the councils are doing. But my question here is, let's take the case of the regional capitals, where you find the governor, who is the administrative head. You have the regional council president. You have the city mayor. Are we not going to have some friction somewhere?
And the SDO.
Obviously,
the SDO, the deal, yeah.
Obviously, there will be some friction. But you know, in the law you just mentioned, the state is tactful. They say participating in. What is the participate means? You accompany. It's not like you initiate. It's not like you are the person who has to ensure that you bring this thing into place and makes it happen. Why? Because there are already stakeholders into it. City councils have their own role to play.
The local councils.
Local councils have regional delegates of public works. They have their own role to play. So what they have simply done, in summary, is that you are only participating. You know, that's a very technical clause there. That I see, even when you see the regional council, I've been telling them that they are only happy for no good reason, because they will only be having a say, and the say does not mean you can initiate any moves. That is what I have told them. Because when this law tells you about participating, you first of all understand, just like what we're talking about, that, for example, if you look at section 18, sub 1, regional councils must only deliberate on matters the law transferred to region's competence, such as preparing regional development plans or managing secondary education.
Yeah,
that's
like what I
only,
just read out.
like what you just read. Now, what you realize here is that you only have the ability to participate into. We're talking about things that you have to take the drastic measures.
No, your competence are limited to what is
good. That's why I said your competence is limited to that particular aspect of the law, which means you are accompanying. See, Mr. Leo, that text is technical there. They don't initiate as per se. They take part into, which means those aspects are key aspects of development. Those aspects you see that the law has mentioned. And so in normal condition is that you don't just sit and fold your arm. Whatever it has to do with preservation of maybe the forest aspects in an area, biodiversity, you are inside. Okay. When it has to do with the road issues, they only call you in. You come in. So the main thing that the clause has simply asked them to participate, which means they become. But the key actors are there. You cannot come on the road issue and an expert in public works wants to do A or B. I will tell him no. It will not go, because he will tell there's an organigram in it. You are simply accompanying him for him to finally arrive at it faster. Maybe if there's some stumbling block, you could tell your quarterhead or some people around you that no, just leave this person to do this work for this reason. But in real terms, what comes from them as their competence is limited as per that law. That's why I said that it becomes different, because if it has to do with the council themselves, I said, a councillor belonging to a particular council has more powers. Because as I said, he can initiate a project. If a school in his quarter is not having benches, that councillor can go to his mayor and tell the mayor we need benches, and within few times, 1 month, 2 months, the benches are transferred to the school.
What stops the regional, because the regional assembly for the case of the Northwest and Southwest region is going to be made up of 2 houses, the House of Divisional Representatives. Now, if you are a councillor representing a division and your people walk up to you, what stops you from carrying it to the president of the regional councils? Because we must also know that, like the councils have budgets, they are going to have a budget.
They are going to have a budget, Mr. Leo, but they will not have a budget for the development as we think. They are going to have what they call running budget that has to do with running their secretariat, paying their cashier workers, and then their sitting allowances and some of their bonuses. That is the reason for that budget. But when it comes to you from the division transferring a worry to the president of the regional council, what you simply do is that he will only take the relay and transfer to the competent authorities while waiting for action to be taken, Mr. Leo. He will not have that power to initiate as a council will do. A council that runs a budget like Limbe 2 council that is running 655 million francs CFA means that council can decide to take a bulldozer today. If they decide today, tomorrow a bulldozer is going to open a road in Mukundange going to a particular quarter. But for regional council, it is a whole procedure. It's not as easy as
like to add that
we find it here.
There's a section which talks about the conciliator for the special status regions, Northwest and Southwest, and it states that the conciliator has a mandate to handle complaints from citizens. From the Northwest and Southwest concerning the functioning of the regional and local councils. You're complaining to him about the functioning of the regional and local councils within the said regions. On no account shall the said public conciliator entertain any complaints related to the central administration posted to the regions, such as the police, the lands, or the tax department is behaving.
But they are not under him. They are not under him. He is appointed. You are talking about the independent.
Even if you have a complaint, you meet them, you talk to them.
You are talking about the independent public conciliator who is going to be appointed, who is supposed to be somebody.
Because he talked about meeting competent authorities. That's the person that they can talk to.
Because
he represents the state there. So what the person will not even interfere. So how do you go about it?
No, he represents not the state now.
He's an independent.
He's supposed to be
independent.
Yes, we're supposed to also, because he's going to be presenting an end of year report. He observes what you guys are doing, and but let's
see how complex it is.
You see, these government thinks that we are fools. No, I've told them that when they put these clauses, Mr. Leo, we're talking about legality here. You know, when you look at each clause, you have to look at its detailed meaning. Okay. Because it sounds sweet, you understand. No. But the question is, like what Mr. Prince Bako was talking, we need to find out what is their real competence. What budget will they have? First, the budget has not been defined.
It hasn't.
They only tell you will manage a budget.
Yeah, but they have to come up with their budget now.
But now, when here they have to manage a budget. Now, in the budget, you understand that because you have city councils, you have local councils who are already doing what seemingly you are supposed to do. It explains why you will not be expecting that kind of budget, which they too have, else you have duplication of budget on the ground. And at the end of it, you realize that, as I said clearly, in the whole text, subdivisional councils have more influence in their area than the regional council issues.
We are going to find out. Padi Asanga, are you available? You were part of the major national dialogue. You went back to Germany. You have observed the elections take place across all 10 regions of Cameroon, with special focus on what has happened in the southwest region, Boya precisely, and Bamenda. Are you comfortable with the outcome?
Leo, I want to thank for bringing me in, and I also want to stay on my belief and my thoughts on what my major prime represents for the Anglophones. I want to thank our beautiful lady who is on the panel today, and my friend Far Evis. You know, I have told you people time and time again that some of us who went to the national dialogue are the vanguards of what they call the national dialogue, because we learned from the politics of boycott. And today, what I'm listening from the other panelists is actually telling us that we were right to be there, and we were right to be talking about the content of the special status. What you people are reading, there are things that were already out there, and we said we were not going to be part of it because at the SDF, in the SDF, we believe in a federation and not in some kind of decree. And when we came out from the national dialogue, we were crying, shouting at the top of our voice. Some people called us Mr. Special Status. I also got the name Mr. Jacobine because I said, no, what we came out of it and the content that they are presenting to us is just a dead version, or let me say a stillbirth of the decentralization project that died in 1996 when it was born. So where we are today is where we already anticipated. What I'm saying here and all these quotations and so on and so forth, it is an empty package. It is something that we knew about it, and that's why we proposed the Canadian model for the Northwest and Southwest region, because all the clauses that our brilliant panelists have put out there, they are clauses that are meant to continue with the same system, but giving it a different nomenclature. It is just like changing the musical chairs, removing Paul from seat A and putting him on seat B. What you have seen today, the House of Chief and so on and so forth, it is in total violation of even the laws of the decentralization that they made, because they are talking of an executive council, but an executive house of chiefs or something like that. That is not what we came out of the national dialogue. It is a lie. The Northwest region the North and Southwest region was supposed to have an executive regional council,
but that's
which has to do with the House of Chiefs, and the House of Chiefs had to deliberate and then take decisions. But what we see today is a change of the whole deliberation that we have, that what we came out from the national dialogue with, and that is something that is not acceptable. And I want to concur with all the panelists who are sitting here today to tell you that it is a charade. It is something that we already know. It is a deja vu. It is that type of thing that, as my sister just said, those people who are run in for all those positions, they don't really know what they are running in for because they were not prepared. Remember that at a certain point, there were other voices out there saying that Anglophones should sit together, brainstorm, and then look for alternate measures, plan B, plan A, plan B, and plan C. But we went to the national dialogue divided because we Anglophones, we did not agree. That is the fruits that we are reaping, but the fight is not done at that level. And we have not been part of that charade, and we are not going to be part of that charade. I think that the real time has come now for us to expose that CPDM government and let our people know that what is happening in the Northwest and Southwest region, the route that we are taking, has only monocolored the Northwest and Southwest region, because you have the CPDM in the Northwest and Southwest region, and in part of other regions, you have other parties like in the North, as they said. So we have to re-strategize and make sure that our people know that the stakes are more than just talking about Ambazonia or special status or CPDM and so on and so forth. Imagine for one instance that the Northwest and Southwest region was a monocolor with the opposition, then you would have had something different, and we would have been a block, like that block that left Enugu and came back to Buea, and then from Buea we moved to Yaoundé. So we are suffering from the consequences of our disunity. I don't want to talk about that all these elections very much, because we're not part of it, but I'm coming on your platform today to articulate the fact that we are the vanguard, and we are cried and said, let's sit together and discuss about a favorable content of the special status. Let's adopt even the Quebecian model, where you have a federal parliament, where you have the Francophones who are even in the minority, but they have the prime minister and they are living together. But some people, and even even Anglophones of some other regions, they tell you that no, that federation that those of us from the Northwest or those of us of the SDF are talking about is about separation. But then they are seeing it with their own eyes today that it is another charade, and I'm happy that you have somebody there who's telling you that the CPDM elites are going in for a decentralization, and that decentralization is a stillbirth, and we are commenting about the consequences of that stillbirth on this platform right now.
Andrin Temibako, you have the names of some of the persons who were elected today now. Are you the more inspired to believe that things are definitely going to shape up?
Mr. Liu, I would tell Cameroonians to rather sit and watch and see how the events are unfolding rather than making conclusive statements.
Okay.
And rather than condemning what is going on. Like I said to you before, that this is a historic moment for the people of Cameroon. And I believe that Cameroon is taking a step forward. It may not be the way people expected it to be, and you must understand that people in the English regions have a different perspective in the way they look at this thing. So it's very important that we have to understand, Mr. Liu, that at the end of the day, when it comes to the political issues of this country, whether of this continent and of the world, people must learn that we must learn to live together by living apart. Getting people to agree on certain things is always difficult, but at the end of the day, we must be able to find a junction to agree, Mr. Liu. This decentralization, I will make a very brief analysis so that Cameroonians should understand. It is not a federation. It is just like creating more organs and building them as sensors to enable Yaoundé to best run this country. So he is using this decentralization to create sensors. It's just like in technology. You create bodies that can quickly relate information back to the headquarters so that the headquarters understands what is happening on ground and what they should be doing. So we have realized that in Cameroon, the area of communication has always been the challenge. So the decentralization is going to connect bodies together so that the government should know their responsibility and act on their responsibility as the organs are operating. So that is the way I look at this decentralization.
Are not giving powers to the regions?
But it definitely, when we talk about organs and sensors, that simply means power flows through them. That it goes back and forth. That's what I talk about, the flow of information. It's all about power. So that is how the decentralization is. Now, when we talk about the special status, let us wait and see how it is going to turn out to be, because we understand that it is going to give some level of, how will I put it, some level of opportunity, especially to the people of the Northwest and the people of the Southwest. I will still come back again to you, Mr. Leo, that many persons of the Northwest may not appreciate or welcome the decentralization because they have never, majority of them, believed but in a federation, a two-state, which is virtually impossible. Going back to the history, it's impossible. Let us look how Cameroonians should build a form of unism, how they can all advance. You see, Mr. Leo, it will be difficult that the way people may be expecting Cameroon to work will not work that way, because Cameroonians themselves live in Cameroon as tourists in their own country. If we don't understand that, it was put in the law in 1996, but today we have the decentralization in pragmatism. We are seeing the process of it going on. What I'm saying is that, Mr. Leo, it will take us to understand that, all right, it may not have come at the time Cameroonians were expecting it, but it has already come. What can we do to see how we can advance the nation together? But the only thing that worries me here, Mr. Leo, is that the actors that are in place, if you do a background check about these individuals, they are not competent to be in those positions.
But that's my question to you.
Yes, they are not competent to be in those positions, because at the end of the day, you come now to start questioning that the individuals who now stand in as the stakeholders and the people who are operating in the terrain, how competent are they and how ready are they to deliver the goods to the people? Because I ask myself, who are they going to represent? They are not going to represent any person. They are only going to represent the CPDM party. And I have said that time and time without numbers that CPDM does not win in Cameroon. You cannot play against yourself in order to determine whether you are a winner. There should be a level of competition within other developing nations for CPDM to understand that it has been failing in Cameroon. So you cannot use the same people who have been disappointing the system, the same people who have been. Pardon?
CPDM competed in 2018 with
No. Okay. And when I talk about the House, I'm not referring to the other opposition parties. They are not. I'm talking about the advancement of the country. You compare yourself with other developing nations.
Andrew, thank you. Barrister Moody, who is watching us from Canada, says hi, Mr. Koeman. Special regards to the panelists. Regional elections and House of Chiefs are of no moment to Cameroon. The regime created them to compensate political stooges for helping the system to defraud Cameroon. If parliaments cannot debate national issues of what importance, will regional houses be without powers to change any government actions? But I want us to look at because very soon people are going to be the elected presidents. They'll be moving around as elected presidents now, and the governors are there also as. Are we not going to in the next months be seeing some power tussle there?
Well, you know that, as I said, it's a kangaroo system. When you look at the law carefully, if you go to section 61, what is it saying? Let us go by it. You realize that it makes some issues here clear. In that section 61, it tells you that the head of state itself can decide to dissolve that regional house without consulting them. He can make amendments, adjustments, or dissolve if he so wishes.
Yes.
Now, if you look at it, right, if you look at it under certain conditions, we're right. But you see the same parameter that accrues to them is not the same parameter that accrues to a normal subdivisional councils. You cannot close subdivisional councils. You get they have a different parameter that they function. I'm trying to give you the fact that for you to understand that the subdivisional councils even have more value. I repeat, more value than the regional councils that we are playing grammar here day in day out. Because what do they have? And they are elected officials. It is true they are under supervisory authority. But it's difficult for an SDO or a GO to overthrow a council or a councillor, except under extreme cases of embezzlement and all the like. But for regional councils, it can be done even without even consulting you. Because for councils, if they want to overthrow a councillor or a mayor, he's informed. His crime is made known to him, and then it's either remanded because immunity is taken off from him. But in the case of regional councils, if the head of state so desires, according to laws and mayors
don't have immunity now.
They don't.
They don't have. They have advantage. What I talk about, I mean, more of advantages. Yeah. Away from immunity, I'm talking about more of advantages. But when they want to persecute them, they are informed of their crime. They are notified and everything. But the other law here tells you that for regional councillors, it can be altered, adjusted, or amended without even you can just sit one day, you can't tell you that no, the vice president and these organs have been dissolved. You don't argue. So look at it critically. For another reason, we understand that if you go by it, if you go by section 72, 73, and 74, what does it say? It simply tells you that the supervisory authorities, for example, still stand very tall. For example, the regional council themselves, the governors are in charge. As per the local divisional councils, the prefects, the SGOs, for example, they are in charge. They supervise all the activities. And you know the law generally tells you that they cannot hold meetings without approvals from these supervisory authorities. So you discover at a point in time, you are not even independent as you think because they must know your agenda. If your agenda is to bring something that is, if for example you want to put a road somewhere, where the state feels that they don't have the prerogatives at that moment to put a road, they will tell you that that meeting is not necessary. And you will not call it because if you force the meeting, then you can be dissolved or you can be suspended. So you look at it critically, it is a smoke screen. I am very surprised to see when I went to Boya, people gathered at the council premises, dance groups and all that. I said, but these people are they really normal human beings? Do they even know why they are here? Because people will be expecting more from these regional councillors when they don't even have what it takes to offer. It will become another problem. So at the end of it, we realize that all these laws govern these regional councils.
But you should also read the law on the section 274 that says the region shall be administered by the regional council through its deliberations and by the president of the regional council through the instruments he signs. 274. Okay. Yeah.
What does that text say, Mr. Leo? The text still comes back to the other text we just read.
It shall be administered.
You shall be administered. But when you are administering it, what powers do you administer? What level do you administer? You'll be administering under the level whereby you are simply assisting other stakeholders in the realization of the various projects earmarked. Remember, in that particular law, when you go critically towards the end of it, you realize that it states clearly that the regional councils cannot alter any development project put in place by the state. Which means if the body has been voted in the National Assembly and the Senate, and it has been sent to the various ministerial departments, you cannot alter. You only have to jump in and accompany them. So it means that you are a robot. A robot in that if the Ministry of Secondary Education have been given their own budget, and they say want to build a school here and here and here, the highest you can do is that you can only accompany them to see that the school is built as per se. But innovation-wise, you are far from innovation. If you want to make an innovation, it means that you only propose, you write in writing, you send to your president forwards it to the governor and the competent authorities, and it's sent to the head of state, who has prerogative, I repeat, who has prerogatives either to listen to what you have written or not to listen. So at the end, you are more of a proposing organ than an organ that has a direct impact on the life of the people. That is simple. The text is clear.
Okay, the text is, yeah.
I'm really wondering what is stopping our government, our president, to effectively decentralize all the ministries. I think that if perchance so all of these ministries were decentralized, we'll be talking about these regional councils having some kind of influence. Yes, they have some influence, but how far can they go if there is no complete decentralization? Because when I look at some of the laws, like we're talking about, Leo, look at section 18.1, it states that the regional councils only deliberate on matters the law refers to regions' competence, such as preparing regional development plans or managing secondary education. If they deliberate about something else,
No.
Like,
It goes beyond.
You can't talk about they can't talk about something that is happening at the University of Bamenda or at the University of Boya.
It goes beyond that. It has to do with the system of education now.
Yeah, that's education, but yes. Higher education, has it been decentralized?
No, to some extent, because when they talk about state planning, regional development, public works, town planning, it goes beyond one ministry. It has to do with health and social development. It has to do with sports, education, sports and cultural development, and a host of others. So, youth affairs, sports and leisure, culture culture and promotion of national languages.
That if they discuss something else, it will be shut down.
Yeah, but this goes beyond more than 10 ministries now. If you look at
how many ministries do we have?
If you look at health,
discussion of the issue is not a problem. My problem is creating the impact, because if you go, Ministry of Public Health have designed their program into various regions. You cannot come and alter a change. That is the power. That is where they are limited in it.
Okay. And they don't answer to you. They answer to the governor more than you.
And they may answer to you. So you can only come and probably you get to the regional delegate, for example, public health, and the minister in charge, if you can also connect to Yaoundé, okay, for example, and you only propose that. I was thinking that with this health center that was put here in Munya, maybe if there was a way, so you could lobby. But for your case to be taken, but you cannot impose, because the things put in place, you are only accompanying, you are not innovating.
Padia Sanga, I hope you are there. When we look at what they have to do, it has to do with respects to the Ministry of Public Health, Ministry of Social Affairs, Ministry of Sports and Physical Education, Public Works, Town Planning, and a host of others. Knowing fully well that all these regions have regional delegates representing the respective ministries, the councils. Are we not going to have some conflicting moves within the regions where the commissions, because we have the commission in charge of economic development at the level of both regions. We have the commissioner in charge of health and social development, one commissioner in charge of education, sports and cultural development. Are we not going to see power tussle here between the regional delegates representing these ministries and these commissioners in the regions?
Mr. Leo, that is a very good question, but you are asking that question to the wrong person, because I don't believe in this decentralization project. I believe actually in a federal project where the central government has just about 20% of power. And that is the position that we have held from time immemorial. You want to understand that I am living in a country where the federation is working. I don't want to take bad example, but I would like to use good example, because in a federation, the regions generate their own income, and then they give a part of what they generate for the functioning of the central government. So that is a charade. It is a scam that has been sold to those people who went in for that election. You want to understand that at the SDF, we still have a bone of contention with the CPDM about those who are legitimate, or those who came and became regional councillors or who have been voted in place today. That bone of contention has not been resolved, and that's one of the reasons that I tell you that you're asking that question to the wrong person. But this is the way forward, Mr. Liu. We are saying that this charade that have been put in place is just because certain people, and those people who are around Mr. Biya, they want to perpetrate the system because they are afraid that if we refound, or if we go back to the foundation of Cameroon, which is the constitution, and that's what we are advocating for in the name of the special status, to make sure that we don't really care about the nomenclature, but the content matters to us, to make sure that the content of the special status is well defined, not coming to quote laws and decrees that have been signed by Mr. Biya, and those laws and decrees can be revoked by any other person who comes in power. My friend Far Evis can tell you that, because he comes from a political party that doesn't really believe in a federation, but they think that they can manage this system because they have worked within the system. So what I'm trying to say here is this. I'm not trying to tell Fai that he's not right in what he's saying. He's an independent person, and I know his mind, I know his spirit of criticism, and that's why I can sit with him and say the things that I'm saying with a lot of confidence. So the conflict is already born. The conflict is already born, and I don't know how those people who are regional councillors, those people who claim to be in authority now with this current system, are going to sell it to the common man. It is just the medias are going to pump it out there, and the feeble minds will take it as something that has been achieved. No, Leo, you want to understand that we gave our heads, we went and cautioned that thing, and what we are coming out of the special status or from the Grand National Dialogue today is only the fact that those boys and girls whom we pulled out of the bushes have not been killed. But what is happening now, and what you see now, is a perpetration of the Jacobinist system, but with another name, giving regions and giving some people, creating employment for some CPDM members. The whole Northwest and Southwest region is monocolored. Everything that you see and is happening now has to do with a one-party system, and we Anglophones, we have to really sit down and rethink. I don't want to be quoting those laws because those are decrees, and as Mr. Fai just told you people, Mr. Biya can dissolve anything at any time, and then the cards would be reshuffled to suit his whims and caprices. So we are not part of that charade. I'm just coming on your platform today to talk about that one, because we know exactly where we stand and where we are going to. So if these people are sincere, they should go back and drum up that their obese majority in parliament and give us a federation. I heard one of your panelists saying that the people of the Northwest, now the people of the Northwest have become what you call the scapegoat for those people in the Southwest, for people like Ayapol, for people like Ayutabe.
No. We are not calling names here. Just make your point without calling names, please.
Yes, but Mr. Leo, I am responsible for what I'm saying, because when they talk about people of the Northwest and Northwest, I feel very concerned, because I am an indigene of the Northwest, and I'm very proud to be. Because when there is a debate going on out there talking about tribalism, people should leave. I don't know. I read somewhere that one person who belongs to this charade that happened today comes from the Northwest, but he's resident on the Southwest. So I don't know if that person is going to pack his bag and go back there. So we have to put that debate out there. There is no reason for you to be afraid of what we are saying, because these are realities.
Make your point without calling the names, please. They are not. That's not part of the debate for today. There's going to be a day for that. Just go on.
Okay. So what I'm saying is this, Mr. Leo. We are in a fix. Because we were not prepared. We had not prepared ourselves. We are so divided among our political lines: CPDM, SDF, Ambazonia, ADF, SOCADEF, and all sorts of groupings that have existed amongst us. And that only goes to favor the state party that is called the CPDM. I hear somebody trying to say that decentralization is some kind of field study to see where we are going to, and that people will be reporting. What was the role of government delegates? What has been the role of governors? The Northwest and Southwest cannot have appointed people from the north, from Yaoundé, who come and oversee what elected officials are doing. It doesn't work that way. The people who we have actually elected, purportedly elected, they don't have any powers. They are just there to make propositions, and those propositions will be supervised maybe by the regional president and the governor. And when and then the mediator, let's talk about the mediator who is going to be appointed on proposition from the regional councillor, the president of the regional councillor, and the representative of the government. Those are things that are not acceptable in a kind of democracy, in a modern day democracy that is supposed to be functional. You have to go and read the law of decentralization. I don't like to be quoting laws because it's not my domain. I'm not a lawyer, but we interpret that thing and try to sell it to the common people.
Okay, Paddy Asanga, thank you. We are going to come back. Can we get the first reaction of the new president of for the Northwest region, Eli?
Thank you for bearing with us. We stand here to tell you that the times are hard. That's no news to you. When the times are hard, we close ranks. We are here to say we need to rid our region of the woes that plague us. In doing so, as a team, we intend to have those values, the human values of love, empathy, a solid family life, so that our communities can have the peace they deserve and go about their livelihoods. So, the emblems of the state will be respected. The unity of the state is non-negotiable. We will remain one country, indivisible in all fraternity and solidarity. We plan to start the work for our people. You be me, me I be you, we be. That is our motto, that is our mantra. Nobody should feel left out. I remember head of state in 2010 in Bamenda during the 50th anniversary of the armed forces. Thank you, generals. Every village, every nook, every division, every region in Cameroon will be taken care of. We thank you. We will work with the reconstruction efforts. We will look at the social, the infrastructural, and especially education. We promise you, but this cannot be done without your commitment and engagement so that the Northwest family can be one person again. Thank you.
Okay, we all listened to him there. I'll start with you. Given Brenda says the times are hard, it's time for everybody to close ranks so that they can move. To say that, do we think that they are unaware of what is at stake? They fully are aware?
I would say I don't think that they are fully aware, or maybe they are aware, but an appointment comes with a lot of benefits. Who don't want to be? Yes, but they'll be paid. Wouldn't they be paid? They were elected, but they will be paid.
So it comes with a lot of benefit. So even though you can sit from the outside and say this thing is going to be will bring nothing, or it wouldn't be as influential as you think, but it's beneficial to somebody, it's beneficial to some people. You know how excited we are when we hear that one of our sons is being appointed a prime minister or a minister or this. As long as you know that somebody from your village has been uplifted into something, you're celebrating. So that's why we could have the series of dance groups that Fa was talking about during the elections. And then I think that there are some educated persons amongst these councillors who actually understand what it is all about. They know the stakes and they are comfortable. They're first of all members of the ruling party. They are okay with everything that comes with it. They respect authority. But on the other hand, I think there are some people who were just told, prepare your documents, you'll be part of this bureau. And they are there, they don't actually understand some of the laws outlined, like Patti was talking about him not knowing exactly what some of the laws, the implication of some of the laws. Some of them are just there for that. But let's give them a chance, like my brother was talking about, giving them a chance. We don't know, a miracle can happen somewhere, and tomorrow we'll see them producing good results, giving good results, influencing decisions out there. The participating can also mean influence.
It's a miracle.
Participating can also mean influence. So as long as they can influence these decisions, then it is good.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, Mr. Liu, it's important for Cameroonians to understand, like I will still repeat again, that it is a historic moment for the Cameroonians.
For the nation, yeah.
For the nation as a whole. And people should celebrate and people should welcome this event, because the man who won the seat in Ebolowa, Joe Emmanuel, he is saying that for the very first time ever since the independence of this country in 1960, for the first time, Yaoundé will have to decentralize some of its power that it retains. Because whether we like it or not, there are going to be financial, administrative autonomy for the regions. That is the simple truth, and we cannot deny those things. We may complain of the actors, because right now many of the actors that are in place are not relevant due to the socio-political situation we may have in those two regions. But it does not evade the fact that the regional elections and the appointment is a moment where it is going to change the entire nation. I believe strongly in that. I know that many persons who believe for federation will not accept what I'm saying, but we must understand that there is a balance that has been struck here, Mr. Liu, because many persons who wanted federation, remember that you are talking of these two regions who are the minority in this country. Now, the people of the Northwest who wanted for federation, but the people of the Southwest did not want federation, instead preferred what they call the regional autonomy, which is a similitude of their decentralization. Now, what is the balance here? When you go back to history, the people of the Southwest said that they had once been marginalized by the Northwesterners. That is what. Now I'm coming here, Mr. I want to lay a foundation. It's very important to understand where the balance is. The regional elections is creating a balance.
Okay.
In the entire country.
Okay.
It is technically resolving some conflicts which were pending. That is what the point I'm trying to project here.
Okay.
And I think that if the Cameroonians can see what is happening, that for the first time ever since the colonial system in 1960, the country is plunging itself into decentralization, whereby councillors and actors are still waiting to see how much power will be handed to these regions. I don't know if you understand me, to see how they can start managing their own affairs. So that is what I'm saying, that it is a moment where we all need to work together at one point and see that we head forward to where we are supposed to go to, and to give the government the chance to see what will come out of this decentralization.
Andrew Ibako is from the Southwest region. Many other persons from the Southwest region. We listened to Peter Mafani Musonge, who led the delegation to Yaoundé. He said the people are for decentralization and they will not want a union with another region. We equally heard from the Senator von V. Mukete, who said it very clearly that historically no treaty was signed between the Northwest and Southwest region. What is the problem? Is the problem not an issue of having greater autonomy to manage your affairs? What is wrong with that?
You know, what is wrong in it is like what Baku is saying when he says the process of the regional election will bring about some sort of balance and autonomy. I think regional autonomy
for all the 10 regions.
For all the 10 regions. I understand he does not. It looks like he does not master it very well. We talk about autonomy, because autonomy in disguise and real autonomy are two different things. This issue presents as if there will be autonomy,
but there will not.
But there is no autonomy. Now,
for now,
I approach it probably as a political scientist, because in political science and with the sciences, it's not like history, where you have to be analyzing whether what Woodrow Wilson did could be taken this direction or that direction. No. The formulas are the same. If you apply this formula, you expect this result. If you apply it correctly, you expect a correct result. If you apply it wrongly, you get a wrong result. That's why even in the national dialogue that people like Padre Asanga attended, people like us said, because it was not founded on the real principles of conflict resolution, it was a sham. Look at the outcomes of what we find now. From one error to another, it will keep giving birth to wrong things until the day they call for a genuine dialogue that makes sense. Now, if you look at it critically, like what my brother Adrian was talking about, you know, the person in the South said powers come back, autonomy and all that. No. What we are saying here, Mr. Liu, is simple. For the simple fact that the powers of this people is limited or has been caged and restricted, supervised strictly by the supervisory authorities, and in a way that they cannot hold any meeting without the knowledge of the supervisory authorities, it tells you that they are simply robots that are put in place to give the impression that powers have been divorced. Take, for example,
what stops the fact that you need to notify the governor of what you have to do? What stops you from doing what?
Two things are there, Mr. Leo. Yeah. Notifying and his presence, he needs to be represented. There are two things. It's not like the National Assembly where you can hold it only with Kamer be present and people go ahead. No. This one, the supervisory authority must be present. If you go to the divisional councils, if you notify the senior divisional officer, you cannot hold it without him. If he's not there, he can send a representative. The thing is that he must monitor so that you don't have anything in the form of secret. Look at it. When I say we have kangaroo systems, if you go to section 289, paragraph 2, what does it tell you about communication? It tells you clearly that all the regional councils are forbidden from communicating with other regional councils from other regions. Do you understand where they are putting people in cage and they don't even know that they're clapping and dancing every day?
No, but there is a clause. There is a clause. I'm sure there is a clause that actually provides for regional councils to engage in working partnerships with other regions.
Under a supervisory.
Mr. Leo, if you want to carry a working partnership, you must take clearance from the sitting authority, the governor.
Yeah.
Which means they must know your agenda.
Yeah.
See it well. The governor communicates with the governor of the other region. They discuss first, which means they are your godfathers. Mr. Leo, you are not independent. If they sit and decide that no, this thing is broken because wahala, leave it, and they cancel it. Mr. Leo, these are makeshift smoking houses.
The intention of bringing a law like that.
Okay, what is the law telling us here, Mr. Leo? For communication, it is said the law provides specific framework for interregional communication, which means that it is clear you are not authorized to communicate with other regions. Can you imagine this clause talking about here on issues of governance or the state budget? If you do that, it is punishable
289
by the same section 289 sub 2.
Yes.
Mr. Leo, these things are clear here. I don't know where I see people jubilating in Boya and Bamenda. I'm sure they have gone insane because they take them to look at these things. They have simply been caged. They'll be going around gallivanting. We're regional councillors. They don't have the powers. Mr. Leo, the law tells us that they can only collaborate with regional officials, with regional civil servants or state officials who have been mandated to carry a particular project. You can collaborate with public health, you can collaborate with livestock, fisheries, but you cannot force them to do otherwise because they have an agenda. Is that a house? It's a kangaroo house. I must say so. So if we come together here, Mr. Leo.
Are you not saying that because you are not part of it?
No, Mr. Leo. I am analyzing what is there. Forget about.
What if
it's not because I'm not there.
Is it not?
I think that they have powers, but it's limited. Let's not say they don't have.
No,
they have, but it's limited.
No, but that is already the issue.
I don't not function. With the powers, are they not functioning within the state?
Mr. Leo,
yes.
If you are functioning within the state, Look, I've said I keep on doing this comparative analysis.
Yes.
Look at what the councils do.
When you talk of complete independence, are you talking about the creation of a different country within a country?
No, that's not what it means, Mr. Leo. If you have the prerogative and they have confidence in you people, you are supposed to hold your meetings, make your agendas. You are even supposed to have a running budget that you can decide to go and construct a road that you see it lacking or something. It does not move like that because in that road there is a service there. That public works, and you need to collaborate with that service.
Do you have knowledge of how much is going to be the budget for the regions?
Mr. Leo, Mr. Leo, let me land here.
So you don't know, and you are
no, Mr. Leo, excuse me, Mr. Leo. It is from analysis. If you are told that you work in collaboration with existing authorities or existing services that have been devoted to carry out specific functions, Mr. Leo, that statement tells you that you will not be able to expect the body you think to enable you to go and carry out something which another person is working. When you have been asked to collaborate, you have been asked to work in collaboration. The line is technical. Why am I saying so, this, Mr. Leo? I want to put the regional councillors at alert because they might think that they have much money. They might think that many things will come. But remember, they are only going to accompany. Mr. Leo, their tax is clear. You have to accompany. As I said, if you look at it here, they have said they shall not infringe into the functioning of other state services that have earmarked to carry out developmental projects in the area.
Why those state services are not answerable to them?
They are not answerable to them.
But I'm not sure. How do we judge even before work is being done?
You mean the development?
Yes, because from every indication it says nothing is going to be positive. How do you judge something from
to me, Mr. Liu, like I've said, it is. When I use the word, it is a historic moment for the entire nation. That simply means something good is happening. And if we deny that that what is going is a farce, I think that we are resisting change. Ever since 1960, Mr. Leo, this is the first time that we are hearing decentralization. And like I talk of the man who won the seat in Ebolowa, they are expecting to see Yaoundé relinquish power and create some kind of budget whereby they can run this decentralization. So what we are saying, we are entering into a hasty judgment. My point is, let us give the government the chance and watch what they are doing.
But is the government also under a hot seat to deliver so that people can believe them?
They do.
Yeah, because when we we are talking about the 1996. We are talking about the 1996 Constitution.
Yes, they do.
That made provision for the putting in place of the Senate. We have seen what we have seen what the Senate is doing. That makes also provision for the Constitution.
We cannot deny it, Mr. Liu. We cannot. It may not be the way
the Constitutional Council.
It may not be the way a lot of people will expect it, but I'm saying that we are moving from somewhere and we are going somewhere, which is something it's a fact that nobody can deny. No, to be honest, I don't know if you understand. If we
he has a point.
No. I'm saying that
look at the level of analysis.
No. I'm not.
You cannot claim guava and you have a favor. It does not go.
No, we are not saying that.
So I don't want to do what we call
in our
guesswork,
whereby it's going to give a lot of Cameroonians the possibility to be able to make decisions at a certain level. Now we begin to improve from what we already have and see how far we can go.
At the same time, we are telling government that if you want to give somebody something, give it wholeheartedly.
You cannot give it wholeheartedly.
Don't give it, and then you're pulling the strings.
When you are grooming the people, this is the beginning. You cannot do a huge investment.
By the way, what will regional councillors do that?
They will take another 50 years to put it through. Paddy Asanga, if you are there, do you think that the government has a lot to do to win the hearts of the people to believe in these regional councils? When we judge the performance of the Senate and the Constitutional Council?
Leo, let me say something here, because I've heard my brother Ebako said certain things, but I don't know if he was at the national dialogue to understand what went out there. And we are talking about two regions who have a special status, who belong to a post-colonial identity that makes them specific in that region, in that country. There is no other region, or there are no other regions who voted and came into that union with institutions Northwest and Southwest. Today, people might be talking of the House of Chiefs, but the House of Chiefs now is an empty packet. it is very empty. And I want to concur with Far what he's saying. But this is exactly what is happening. The Cameroon government is getting from one mistake to the other and expecting different results. If these people are sincere, why is it that everything is per decree and those laws are there, it is there ignited, and then we have to wait for decrees that would enforce the laws? It doesn't work that way in a very serious system of governance where people want sustainable development and sustainable evolution of power. It doesn't work that way. Everything should be constitutional, and that's why we think that the government has put itself in a more difficult, in a more tight situation than it used to be before. Because you want to understand that the Northwest and Southwest region, they had some projects which were from the time we came together, each and every one of us learned it from this secondary school that the Menchum deep sea port would, the Menchum hydroelectricity project could alimент or provide electricity for the whole West African region. We knew that we had a Limbe DC port. We knew that we had the WAF somewhere in Tico. We knew that we had an international airport where planes were flying from Calabar and all sorts of things. So it did not deter us. Those institutions and those infrastructures, they worked until they decided to ignite the assimilation project. So when Ebako is saying that thing, he is actually repeating the rhetoric of CPDM militants of the Southwest region, because there are also people from the Southwest region who don't think like him. So when he comes and he says what he's saying, that the people of the Southwest region think like this, he should know that I have my own friends also from the Southwest region who don't think like him. There are some people who are just behaving the way they are behaving because they think that enormous pressure has to be mounted on a government which has been adamant for a very long time for them to do something. So Bako should not say those things that he is saying. But now, coming to the government and where they stand today, the government has enormous pressure, not only from the citizens of the Northwest and Southwest region, because the citizens of the other regions, they have not accepted, they have not revendicated for anything. We started by revendicating for federation until people came in on board and were asking that they wanted to have a 10-state federation, and what he's saying that 10 regions, decentralization and so on. We did not need to get there. Those things were existing for about 20 years. And why is it now that he is talking about and telling us that somebody from the South? When did you see somebody from the South came out on the street to say that he wanted a 10-state federation or he wanted the decentralization to be enforced? This is being intellectually dishonest and playing into the cards of people like how do you call him? This man, the senator from the CPDM, from the Southwest, the Doyen Dash, Chief Mukete, yes, because Chief Mukete actually came to the national dialogue with a delegation to spill down this rhetoric, to boo at us, who were saying that we are only talking about a two-state federation because we have a common identity, which is political. Like, you know, our position, my position, excuse me, Leo, let me land, my position as far as MRC or Maurice Kamto and other francophones are concerned, it's very, very different. I am more close to Maurice Kamto and his CP and his MRC people who are from the West region than Sako, than Mukete, and many other people from Manu. But I think that as we are talking politics here, we have to assume and accept the fact that there are two political systems. Unity in diversity, like the Canadian model, and Cameroon can only function in that model. Anybody who's coming to spill the beans and trying to force us to accept this charade that they are calling decentralization is telling a lie, Mr. Leo. So the government is in enormous pressure, and the pressure will mount a lot because they want to sell this thing.
That is what you believe, but you should also accept the opinions of others who do not see things from your prism.
I don't refuse his opinion, but he's trying to talk on behalf of the people of the Southwest.
No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure he's alone. I'm not sure he's alone. There are many. There are also many persons. Why not? Why not?
Am I alone?
No, you call it a share.
Move on.
Okay, let's move the debate forward. No, let's move back to Bamenda and get the reactions of some persons after the elections were conducted today.
Of the House of Chiefs, we will deal with traditional chieftaincy matters. We will deal with issues relating to the culture of the Northwest, and by so doing, culture is the base. Traditional chieftaincy is the base. So we are going to touch base with not just the funds themselves, but if we are touching base with the funds, we are touching base with the grassroots, because the funds live with the grassroots population. So you can be rest assured that we'll do our best to be able to bring peace to the Northwest region.
I hope and think that people are going to bring change and also bring development, because the people elect the people that see that they can bring development. They cannot elect someone who will not work and who will not bring development. And development now is the key that we want in Northwest, and we want peace in Northwest. That's what we want, just the peace, the development.
Elections and this decentralization procedure and the process. We thank the President a lot, because we will help to bring peace, we will help to bring a lot of development in our region and our divisions. It has autonomized many powers in the divisional level and the regional levels. So we thank the President of the Republic for this procedure.
To identify whether they would bring or not. But I think that we will not be doing that when it's on the war. The challenges are enormous, because the peace is not related to the election that we have as well. We are talking about addressing the root cause of the problems in the Northwest and South, like addressing the West Cameroon issue. If that is addressed, we will deliver the good. If not, we will just expose it.
Okay, some reactions there from Bamenda, but conspicuously absent across the national territory are women. I've not seen much of the women representation. Meanwhile, when we go through
the list.
No, when we go through this, they say the respective regional stuff should have a representation of the sociological demographic of Cameroon. But when you look across the 10 regions, you will not find a woman president, not even a vice.
A woman is at the bottom. You know, the kind of positions given to women is disappointing. I want to speak on behalf of those women who think that their voices were not heard in this election. They were not represented. We are tired of seeing men ruling all the time and in everything. Parliamentarians dominated by men and the rest. We had women when we had regional elections. We had women on this list presented by candidates. Where have all those women gone to? Why is it that nobody proposed them? Because like our man of the Northwest, somebody just came up, proposed that he should be a president. Yes, and then they voted him 100%. Why is that none of them thought about putting up a woman to come up as a regional councillor? Nobody thought about the woman, because do they think that the woman is not capable of handling it? I'm quite disappointed, because a majority of our CPDM members, I'm quite disappointed with the party, because I expected more from the CPDM, because the head of state is actually advocating for more women in politics. Even the First Lady Chantal Biya, seeing that we have 10 presidents with no woman, it is a disappointment. We have failed when it comes to gender equality.
Okay, gender equality not respected. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Greetings to all your panelists, especially Mr. Ebako, who seems to be the only person understanding your questions. Let's take this delayed step first. Mola Andre is writing from Tico. The only problem we may face is the actors who have lost popularity. Otherwise, let elites of every region fail or succeed in the development of their regions. Good evening to you, Mola. Writing there from Tico. Hello, Mr. Leo. Good debate. Simo is writing from Italy. Good evening to you, Simo. This one reads, hello, Mr. Leo and the rest of the panelists. I would love you allow the panelists make their points with little interruption from you. You change their direction with every intervention you make. Thanks. We are enjoying the program. That's why I'm a moderator now. You want it to be the way Far Evis wants that this should be complete independence. Okay. Hello, Mr. Leo and the rest of the panelists. Okay. Mr. Nyomi Bless, writing from Boya. Good evening to you, Mr. Nyomi, and to your family. I'm just moderating the debate, please. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I love your program so much. It's very important because it teaches us a lot. But I pray that they give civil society man in the studio more time to educate us. He is very much objective, unlike this year, a man who condemns everything. Frank, writing from Bamenda. Okay, good evening, Mr. Liu, and to all in the panel. Please, I think that the best is to solve the problems of Cameroonians. It's not the type of decentralization we have been forced with the panacea of good governance and autonomy. It's 10 state federation, Mr. Agbo. Writing from Manfi, is it possible to get this decentralization work if we can take full advantage of the text? Because it is true, reading some of the clauses may just think that nothing is possible, but the text reads, I'm sure, section 329. I don't know if you have it there, Kiven. It says the Northwest and Southwest regions shall be administered freely by elected organs under the conditions laid down in this law. Is it also the time for those who have been given charge to run these regions to look at the text and make sure that they make full use of the dispositions that empowers them?
Yes.
Yes.
No. I think so, Mr. Liu. I think that is one of the essential points, and I think that is what really makes the beauty of this decentralization, in my view. Even though it seemed to be solving an old age problem way back in 1996, and like I said, that it may not be addressing the current issue at hand, but it is solving a very important chunk of problem which has existed for long, that we must learn to live together by living apart. Like I said, the people of the Southwest believes in regional autonomy, whereby each region should manage their own affairs. And that is why I realize that in the end, the special status will make these two regions become unique among all the other 10 regions going back to the 1961. Now, Mr. Liu, we're talking about the actors. We understand that the actors may have lost popularity, but I want the Cameroonians to understand that the decentralization was not meant to resolve the Anglophone crisis as per in the secessionist. No. There is another Anglophone crisis away from the current existing crisis, Mr. Liu. So what the government is addressing now is a crisis which had been on the table by the people of the Southwest long ago. This is what the government now, that's why I say the government is acting too little, too late, and doing the right thing at the wrong time in respect to the current separatist fighters who are on ground, who have made these actors lost relevant. But however, like I still say, it is not the minority of the separatist fighters that are going to speak on the behalf of the people of the two regions. So a problem is being addressed here, and I think that the country is moving into advancement of progress and prosperity, while the government is still finding other methods in resolving the armed conflict which is on ground. So let us not take these two things and then we mingle together as if we don't know what we are talking about. No. The decentralization is not to resolve the Ambazonia issue. That is not. It's not about that, Mr. Liu. Let us face and understand the context in which we are talking about. So I think that the powers which will be given, especially to the two regions of Northwest and Southwest, when this thing would have fully been enacted and manifested in its maturity, we will see the goodness that will come out of this.
My question is, that is the intention, but even with limited powers, can the persons who have been elected today surprise Yaoundé by taking full advantage of any disposition that empowers them?
I absolutely agree with you. With the little power which they will have, I think they will be able to surprise Yaoundé. They will be able to do because we are talking here of the very wish of these people, what they want. This is what they want. And so even if you are given a small power, like we say that if you can handle a small business at a micro level, you can also, if you do well, you can manage it even at a macro level. So I think that even with a little power that they will be giving at this level that we are talking, they will make all efforts, because I want to believe that not only does the government want to surprise the people in this country that they are out to make some changes at a certain level, it's not going to please everybody. But one thing I want to assure a lot of Cameroonians is that we may have expected a lot from the government at the time when we were expecting that from the government did not do. But does not mean that the government in some way have not been responding, and we should not kill the little that they have been doing. A good point was the same point that Apostle Ambe gave the last time when the government took away the seaport from Bolloré. You have now Cameroonians working and operating in that seaport, and it is advancing the nation. So what we are saying here is that even if it's a little opportunity that the government is trying to do, let us seize that opportunity and make the best out of it.
Hello, Mr. Liu. I love your program. Itwe Henry is writing from Kumba. Good evening to you. Hello, Mr. Liu. I'm Augustine. I'm writing from Idinau, and I am enjoying your program. Good evening to you. Esther, writing from Kumba, says, okay, Eneo has done it again. I'll share for you. Anita Enotaka, watching from the US, says, good evening to the host and the panelists. Why was there centralization in the first place? The divide and rule system is a torture for itself, and to those who put them in place, the centralization is like beating yourself for what you did wrong to the people. Good evening to you, Anita. Tabot from Yaoundé says, greetings to you all. Cameroon is only the country where ORT, or recycled technology, is used. Special status is just a mere paper talk. To me, the regional elections are to bring kata in the whole system of decentralization. Merry Christmas. Same for you. Tabot Machiavelli from Yaoundé. Esther, also writing from Yaoundé, says, good evening, Mr. Liu, and to everyone in the house. Mr. Liu, since the governors are still there, those regional presidents have no power. Okay, is that where the big problem is going to come from? Why don't we also see the fact that they are rather going to collaborate, the regional president and the governors?
Mr. Leo, you know, when you do political science, you approach your issues at the scientific point of view and not on guesswork. And that is why in each time we are carrying out political analysis, we are based on the principles of governance and not based on the principles of suggestions.
Okay.
If you look at it, when city councils were created, the conflict is still there till now, concerning who controls the markets within the area and the subdivisional councils. When I was in Kumba, we had a problem between the subdivisional councils and the councils over building permits. That issue went even right up to Yaoundé because all the laws were conflicting as to whether is it the building permit within the municipality, is it supposed to be issued by the subdivisional council or to be issued by the city council. That power tussle is still there till today. I'm just naming plethora of conflicting laws between subdivisional councils and the city councils. Now, regional councils have come again. It's obviously going to add, because when you look at the president of the regional council is supposed to do, it will be a time whereby he to himself will also think that he's a boss on his own. But the main issue here is that the law is also clear that the supervisory authorities are the lords over you. if you get the point, the role of the conciliators. The conciliators simply, they are the liaison between the population and the regional councils. They get complaints from the population if the regional council is not functioning well, and then channel it to the government, which means they have a role to play. If they receive so many complaints against the function of the regional council, they can channel it and the regional council be suspended or adjusted or amended, as the law says, as we're talking about here. It is going to be conflict, certainly, not only with the regional governors, but also with the various state services. Because if you want to ignite an issue on education, and you don't understand that you are supposed to accompany the main stakeholder of the education who is not accountable to you, because he has a boss. The ministry in Yaoundé, the minister is the boss of the regional delegate of secondary education, for example. And you cannot come as a regional council, you want to force him to do things that are not within his competence as he's working in, like he has to give reports to his boss. Now, you will want him now, maybe you could even go as a regional president of the council to report him to the governor. That please, I thought that this person would have done like this. But the governor to his hands will be tight because that regional delegate, though the governor is his direct boss, but he has a real hierarchy. Who is his minister and not even the governor. The governor is just like his overall boss within the region.
The governor's direct boss is a minister of territorial
administration. So you see that
the direct boss of the regional council president is the minister of decentralization.
So you see there will be some conflicting points of view. Now, as we move along with the conflict, I think that the state poses conflict deliberately, so they weaken the people deliberately, so that while they could be fighting and moving, the kangaroo system could be grinding in the dictatorial system and be moving. That's why, for me, if I sit here and see a bona fide Cameroonian, based on evidences I'm giving, sit on this platform and say that let us give them a chance, I think we're coming from the moon. Why do I say from the moon? Because we have seen other creatures of this kind of issues on the place. What have they done? We understand that when Bilingualism Commission was put in place, they went to Europe, they went to Britain, France, Canada, that they wanted to look at the system of governance there, with the intention of coming to see how they can implement here. Even parliamentarians, some parliamentarians followed them. They have come back. Look at the quagmire regional councils they are giving us. Look at the kind of clauses they attach to it and pin them down in a way that they cannot function without any iota of strict monitoring by the state officials put there. So at the end of it, who are we deceiving? That's why I said that if we sit on this platform and want to educate people, and we understand that our role is to give nothing but the truth, there's nothing we can be saying that let us give them a chance. Because from the foundation of a house, you can determine the structure. If you want to be a story building, you start putting in place bamboos as foundation. I will tell you that house will collapse. You cannot tell them, no, let's just build it first. Maybe, as Kmer said, a miracle might occur, and the story building might be sustained by the ancient bamboo that is the foundation. Okay. It's impossible.
Hello, Mr. Liu. Mr. Ibako should talk for his people in Dian who don't have access roads, medical care, but other resources are being plunged to feed the Yaoundé regime. Efukwa Wilson is writing from Boya. I'm not sure he's from Dian Division. It's not from Dian Division. This one says, lawyers and teachers decried the Francophonization of the Anglophone subsystem. How are the regional status going to stop that? It's sad day for Cameroon. I want to look at this law. Says unlike other 8 regions, the proposed deliberative body called the Regional Assembly in the Northwest and Southwest region has 2 houses, and the House of Chiefs. Yeah. And it says that this status comes across in terms of decentralization in the specificities of the organization and functioning of these 2 regions, as well as in respect for the peculiarities of the English-speaking education system and those of the Anglo-Saxon judicial system based on common law, which means that if something is not done to protect the English subsystem of education and the common law system, it means they are failed in their duties because they are supposed to work in that domain. Yes. This one says, hello, it's Madame Jackie from Bokova. Please, we should know that the government has failed. Okay. I took your message already, Madame Jackie. Please, when you call, I can't read the messages. Now, Paddy Asanga, we are going to be, whether we like it or not, the elections have taken place, and that they are going to start working. Do you regret the fact that many other political parties are not represented at the regional levels, and that most decisions may be taken respecting what is commonly known as party discipline, given that the party officials were already in the regions in preparation for these elections of today?
Mr. Leo, I want to thank you and congratulate your panelists for their brilliant intervention. And this is the voice of the Anglophones. I know this might be my last intervention, but before I answer your question, let me take on something that Mola Ebako just said. Okay. Mola Ebako said that we should accept decentralization and all the other regions that the decentralization is not only for the Northwest and Southwest region, but the question I want to ask Mola Ebako is that why is it that decentralization is coming only now? And that project of decentralization has been existing since 1996, emanating from the tripartite. And we are talking, and when we talk about the decentralization project and resolution of the Anglophone crisis, we always refer to the national dialogue. We have to remember that the theme of the national dialogue was to resolve the Anglophone crisis. So by inception or by induction, the national dialogue was convened to resolve the Anglophone crisis and not to solve the other problems of the regions which seemingly were not existing. I am very conservative as far as this Anglophone post-colonial identity is concerned. So when we look at it from that angle, we want to understand that the national, why they are pushing forward this decentralization project is because they believe that they could sell it to the Anglophones, which most Anglophones are not accepting, apart from Anglophones who have a hidden sects of the CPDM, like Mola Ebako and Chief Bukete, who came to the national dialogue and even booed people like Dr. Monzo, who were from the Southwest region. When he's saying what he's saying, he should have been part of it, and we should not come here and lie to our people, radicalize them, and want to sell that filthy rhetoric that is always used when the Jacobinist government is in problem. But now, answering your question, I don't think any political party who doesn't have in its program or that who doesn't have in its program in that decentralization project, or just who want to washy-washy or accompany the CPDM will regret. No, I, as a personal somebody from the SDF, you know, I'm a leftist. I'm also a radical in the SDF. That I think that the SDF position of a two-state federation, which is not an Anglophone party as people are saying, but the SDF is a national party that engulfed the Anglophone problem and was implanted all over the 10 regions in recognition of the Anglophone problem. So when Mola is coming to say what he's saying, I'm simply thinking that Mola is a child of the CPDM who is hiding in the stomach, but we don't know the sex, if it is male or female. So we should be very careful when we come on platforms like this and say this. But to say that those who do not go for that should be regretting, I don't think anybody should be regretting, because 5 years in the life of a nation is nothing. And this is time for us to go to work and tell our people what is supposed to be. I believe in votes. I don't believe in guns to make political gain. So we are going to educate our people, tell them all the flaws. And I know that the decentralization is birth, it's a stillbirth, and our people are going to realize it, coming from just reading within the lines what they call the House of Chiefs. The House of Chiefs, without any legislative power, without any executive power, they have regional presidents and governors who will oversee, who will even propose to Mr. Biya somebody who could be the mediator in case of any discrepancies. They still have the administration. We think that in the Northwest and Southwest region, governors should not be appointed, but they should be elected, and we will still belong in that system. If the other people in the other regions of Cameroon, they want to stage a movement and denounce the fact that they also want elected governors, let them do it. But as far as the Northwest and Southwest are concerned, our specificity recognizes the fact that our very strong representative officials are elected. And that is the spirit which we brought into this union, and that spirit must be upheld. We will stand with that spirit. We came as a bloc. We did not leave Lagos House of Parliament as Northwest, Southwest. We did not leave Onugu to come to Boya as Northwest, Southwest. We did not join La République du Cameroun as Northwest, Southwest. Mola is acting, I think he's one of those tools functioning in the hands of Musonge and late Oben Peter Asu
no, please. I take exception to your last declarations, because he has a right. I'm sure that if somebody
he doesn't have a right.
There is no need. There's sincerely no need calling the names of persons on the show. I asked you a question.
Mr. Leo,
that's what you are doing. That's what you are doing. We will never be. No, we won't be a party to anything that promotes hate speech. He has a right to his opinion, and you said that we came into this union. It means you are talking on behalf of the people of the Southwest and Northwest region, but I'm not sure everybody buy your idea. So say some of us, I think that the best thing you should have said is some of us believe the way he also believes, because there are people who buy what he is saying.
We came by a matter of vote. We had representatives.
No, but the plebiscite was not 100. The plebiscite was not 100% for the union. There are persons who wanted us to join Cameroon, Nigeria now.
I respect that.
Yeah,
but
okay,
I think where we stand today.
Yeah, but you should respect his opinion. We are all panelists. Isn't it? Isn't it democracy? But he does not talk to you and say that you are representing Sako, you are representing this, you are representing this, you are representing him. Why do you impute the names of other persons to what he says?
Yeah. I represent the SDF.
Yeah, but nobody has called the name of the chairman and other persons on this.
No, you are free to call the name of the chairman. The chairman
We don't want that. How do we get things work? Is it feasible?
Anyway, thank you.
No, but we are not done with you, Padi Asanga. Yes, how do we get these things to work?
The laws are already there, Leo. I don't know how you want us to get this thing to work. The laws are already there, and those vying for this position who are already there, they know. I would just believe that they know what they are in for. Yes, they know the expectations too, and they should try their best, because it's always good to try your best before you fail, before you fall. They should try their best, because if we are singing this song here, and they are not trying their best, it will not be a song anymore. It will be like Fa and Brenda were actually stating the truth. So they should try their best, do what they can, use the connections they have, and bring a change. I like the fact that the representative of the Northwest said there are lots of issues going on, and I really wish that with this particular regional councils, bureaus here and there, will have a reduction in hate. You know, there's a lot of hate out there, hate speech. We will now be able to concentrate on our regional issues, try to build our regional issues by participating. I keep saying, even though you're participating, you're still building. So I think that that is what we should look at. We should let's give them a chance, then we hammer, then we condemn. Let's just give them a chance, Leo. I just want to be a little bit positive.
Okay, what should you think Cameroon should adopt now?
Mr. Leo, we have made many analyses on this platform, and it turned out to be the contrary. Very best political analysts have been making analysis, and it has not worked out based on the analysis.
Example?
You realize, because we are not, like he used the word, we are robots. We are not robots. We have human heart, and we have the ability to decide and to cause changes. You see, but it is important for us to understand in this discussion of today of the regional elections that Cameroonians must know that the regional elections came as a result of the Grand National Dialogue that was held on the pretext of what the people of the Northwest and Southwest want. Now, going back to the 1996, when it was put in the constitution for decentralization, but it was never enacted. Now it is because the government was still giving the people of these two regions the chance to be able to come to that consensus of what they want. So when the Ambazonia struggle began, and the people of the Fonds of the Northwest and Southwest, I still remember when Fon V.E. Mukete held a meeting in Kumba and called all the funds of all the regions, the two regions, the conflict region, to meet at his palace and call the governor to send the eyes of the law to partake in that meeting so that they should be able to report back to the government on what resolution that the people, the elites and the funds have been able to decide of what will be the way out to resolve this problem. That meeting never took place. Finally, it became that the elites and the funds were being chased out by the Ambazonian because they seemed to be having some association with the government. Now, the Grand National Dialogue was to assemble these very organs, these very individuals, whereby they can decide on what they want to be as a system that will resolve not the Ambazonian crisis, Mr. Leo. There are two Anglophone crises. The first one is the one that have been for the decentralization and the federation. Finally, the Grand National Dialogue came out with the decentralization and will be what will resolve that first problem. We have the problem of the Ambazonia, which still runs. But this decentralization has nothing to address that particular issue. So, for example, when my co-panelist there in Germany, he talks about more pressure should be put on the government. Who should put the pressure on the government? I kept asking this question that when the English Cameroon were joining the French Cameroon, did they not hear of the war that was fought in 1957? They thought they were coming to join who? So when they are talking about federation, it is as if they did not know the people they were coming to join. Were you coming to join a people of self-determination? The answer is no. So let us understand the grounds in which we are trading, that we are coming from a very horrific and horrendous colonial background, that we must understand that our progress is going to be slow and we must entertain the little that we are getting and maximize the result out of it. So what I'm saying here is that it may not have turned out to be the two-state federation, but Mr. Leo, the decentralization in Cameroon today, it will mark a history that this country will never go back to what it used to be. By all means, it will advance itself. I'm not saying that the government is the best government. No, it's not a subject here today. We are talking about decentralization. And I say that let us all not make hasty analysis. Let us sit and watch and look at the outcomes of it.
Okay. This one says, hey, hello, Mr. Leo. Good evening. You and to all in the house. Your program is very educative. May God bless you for creating this platform. Esther, writing from Kumba, Paddy, again, with lack of facts and research, Mr. Tembebako is not a mullah. This is for this reason I want to ask Mr. Kum to teach us more about our regions. Okay, thank you for this. Please, Mr. Sanga, make your point without insulting others because they too have the right to their own opinions. I think Mr. Leo is doing a wonderful job to seek for solutions to the crisis by bringing you guys to share your opinions and not to bring hate talks. Okay, Frank is writing from Bamenda. Good evening to you, Frank. Hello, panel, and to support the man from civil society, let me ask, how can we be talking a special status when we don't know what it is inside House of Chiefs, when they don't even know what are their powers and how they can independently carry out their powers? Okay? Mr. Leo, good evening. Greetings to the panelists, especially to Mr. Ebako. This is a historic moment for the CPDM and the government of President Biya. I believe the Cameroon's people do not identify themselves in the so-called decentralization project. Okay, and Southwest elites are presumptuous to think that all Southwesterners support their CPDM project. Okay, Pastor Jasper is writing from Germany. This one says, I salute Mr. Leo. The organigram of the special status and regional councils is the same. It's just a change in names as the organs are the same. It's only playing the words. It's still the same. Emma is writing from Adamawa region, okay? Good evening, Mr. Leo. Is there any law in Cameroon that gives special status? Has it been radiated in Cameroon? Yes, there's a disposition in the constitution that provides for the creation. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo. The problem with Cameroon is that we don't have okay. What we have is a landlord. Okay. Let's take this last message before we conclude. Mr. Kuma, I have been following up your program keenly. It's good, but Mr. Fa and the lady are too pessimistic and satiric. They should understand that change is a process. It must start from somewhere. Let them not argue from a hate point of view. Let them be objective like Mr. Ebako. Take note that in the game of nation building, players are victors, spectators are losers, and referees are victims. I advise them to be players and participate in the development of our community rather than criticizing everything. Okay, for every style, how do we make the regional elections that took place across the nation today, not regional elections, elections into the regional bureaus, effective?
Well, just like somebody said, we should be optimistic. I think that I will not be able to deceive myself. I will not want to please people like Brenda just saying, okay, I want to give a little bit of that. Let me give a little bit, you understand? I think I look at it from historical issues connecting. If this one has not worked, 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 there is no way a Cameroonian can sit and tell me, just give another benefit of doubt. It means that I will surely be a Nikompo. I don't want to be that. For the aspect that the clauses surrounding the modus operandi of the regional councils is all that limited, far from what they were supposed to do. It does not give the regions the autonomy expected. Because if a region wants to see development, it's where you start talking about autonomy. We have not heard that from these regional councils. There is a quota of taxes, for example, that could be collected, plowed back within the same region without going to central. Now,
you have not gone through the laws.
No, I'm coming. I'm
sure you should look at the disposition that talks about the financial disposition. Yeah.
Yes, with the financial disposition, I've said anything you see there. I've gone through the laws detailing. When you look at them, you need to link them with other clauses. Just like when you're reading the Bible, you don't pick a single verse and you conclude on that verse because each verse is linked to other ones. It is when you read that particular clause on taxes, you link it with the other dispositions and the powers of the regional councillors. You realize that it's an empty thing. But now somebody will want to take only on the issues, disposition, talk about taxes, and hang it out, this one will give us something, this one will give us something. No, you only think they are smart. Well, they could be deceiving the other people that they could deceive. But I think for us, it will not move.
The CRM is smarter.
No. First of all, I'm talking as an individual, analyzing it first. And I know, just like this is a school of thought, there are people too who are of our own school of thought, just like they have the right to be on the school of thought of Ebako and all the like. Everybody has his own school of thought. I talk from the standpoint where I am. That if you ask me, what is the way forward in this issue? Now, the way forward I'm giving here is termed on the fact that we have had the issue of slow motion for a long time. While other countries are advancing and going, we believe that let's give people a chance. If it matters after 50 years, we are not serious human beings. In this digital age now, globalization,
time should not be wasted.
We are talking about when something is given, it should be given wholeheartedly and action should be seen on the ground. Just like even ask a question, what stops President Paul Biya from giving it generally and holistically without strings attached to it? Therefore, somewhere along the line, there is a ping-pong game they are playing, which some of us here we don't want to see. We want to be believing on things as if we have gone to church and they are saying just believe that Jesus Christ will come back. It is a point of view. But I think that if we have been waiting for long, and from stages from independence and city today, things are instead moving backward, where other countries are progressing, yet we have all it takes. I repeat, we have all it takes to live well. Other countries are envying Cameroon as Africa in miniature. And we sit here, haven't gone to school. Then let us allow the old guards take us hostage. And we believe that with time, let's believe on them. So in a nutshell, if you ask me what should be done, it's simple. There is nothing good so long as I'm talking about the CPDM taking the whole center state for Northwest, Southwest. First, it's working on political lineage. Mr. Leo, this is clear analysis. You realize that anybody wearing the cap of a party functions first in Cameroon under the banner of the party's instructions and its modus operandi. That is clear. I give you examples when I go to the National Assembly. I tell you before any meeting in the National Assembly, there are committee meetings that are taking place by the party itself. So instructing them what should be done before they go to the real business.
So everything you do is with instructions from the national president. Or
I'm talking about parties. I'm talking about my own. Me, I'm different.
No, you are a member of the.
I am saying my own. I'm different. You don't force me to Mr. Leo. My own is different. Why? Okay. Because in our party we know that when you have an agenda given by the party, you must not come back to seek meeting with the party before you go and endorse. If not, then your competence is doubtful. If you are put there to represent the party is supposed to give you that leeway. Not so. What should be done for the regional councils, Mr. Leo? As of now, 1, wastage of budget is taking place already. 2, people have been deceived to think that they will make some changes when they will not make any changes. What can be done? The only thing that can be done now is that if they can revise the constitution and put the powers that is expected to put them to empower them as regional councils as per se, it will make a change. If not, Mr. Leo, we will be singing a song from here till tomorrow with no changes being made. Okay. On the other way around, to finalize the change, the final change that could be done is that if we want to see changes take place, the simple thing is that the regime goes on leave, a new regime comes in place. I don't need to know who is coming in place, put in place a new parameter, and take this country forward without kangaroo system and deceit that this thing is working, when they are deceiving us. Thank you.
The regime should go so that the president at least should take over.
No, you're not getting me. I don't know who is coming. Okay, we need a change and a new system of governance in this country.
Padi Asanga,
election is a farce.
Please. Padi Asanga, thank you for taking part in this elections, in this program.
Yes, Mr. Leo, I like the way my brother Far Elvis is twisting his tongue, but we all know where he's coming from and we know where he's heading to. So to conclude and to leave your program, I just want to civilly, if I offended anybody, to say, okay, I'm sorry. But one thing we have to recognize is that when Cardinal Toumi came out with the issue of the All Anglophone General Conference, it had nothing to do with Northwest, Southwest, but the people who objected and brought us into the cacophony where we find ourselves today, were people like Atanganji and Let Kmer Patrick of blessed memory. May his soul rest in peace. So, we have to recognize the fact when you talk about elites, these elites from the Northwest and Southwest regions, they are fabricated elites. They are people who have been appointed, and those people who are elected, they just go there to rubber stamp, and because what the appointed people of supersede what the elected people represent. So I know you don't want to give me more time like Far Elvis. I respect those who are the home front. It is your right. Take it and do what you can do with it. Most of us in the diaspora are scavengers, and you have that right to lead us, not giving us injunctions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kmer. Thank you for coming.
Leo, I want to thank everybody who took part, who will listen or watch the program from the Southwest and the Northwest. We just want to see development, we want change, and we wish that we can have structures which have autonomy. I mean, autonomy, genuine autonomy, so that we can have effective decentralization and development in our regions.
Okay, Andrew, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Liu. I think that it is better for us to be realistic on what can work for Cameroon than dreaming on what cannot work and what is impossible to happen in Cameroon again, because the federation took place years ago. Today, it cannot be federation because of the parameters which are on ground. The only way forward, Mr. Liu, is the decentralization. If Cameroonians or other political parties boycotted from that election, I think that they did not play an active role to enable this country to advance, because if they wanted to boycott, they should have done so at the presidential election, not the municipal election and the regional election. So I think that they are not helping the country for advancement.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you very much. While we need to be calling a spade and not talking water in our mouth, I think that we need strong institutions and not stronger persons. Today in Cameroon, we have strong persons and weaker institutions with weaker and quagmire laws that are meant to keep the old guards in place. Times are changing, and we must be alert to get the things moving. Come rain, come sun.
Thank you all for the time off to watch the program this evening. We are very grateful for your participation, and also to the production team. Desmond and Eli, thank you very much. And Bertrand, stay blessed. Bye-bye.